Hi, welcome to All Things Possible TV and me, Kris Barney. I love being able to share information with you and to be able to just give you some of the ideas and the thoughts in my head. I come up with a lot of different things, mostly from the clients and the people that I'm speaking for and the people that I'm doing work with. And this time in particular, I want to talk to you about love without limits. So much of the time when I am working with clients and when I am helping other people, I'm finding that there are so many limitations and so many limits that we put on love and how our love is going to be given. And I wanted to just chat with you today about that. Before I jump into all of the content and all of the ideas, I want to invite you, if you haven't already joined our community, right here on the screen, join us at allthingspossible.biz. Again, that's the website, allthingspossible.biz. We love to be able to give you information, give you tips and tools, personal development, as well as leadership and communication skills to improve your life, to create the kind of life that you love and that you want to have more of. So much of the time when I'm working with people, they're talking about the kind of things that they don't want and what they want to be gone out of their life and that they want to be able to release and let go of. And I want to be able to talk to you about having love without limits and being able to have that in your life all the time. So join our community. There's free gifts there for you on the website. And we would love to have you join us. We put out a newsletter every week and it gives you a new article and new information and gives you tips and tools and techniques that work in your life. So join us there. Let's go ahead and talk about this today. So I have written a book, and the book is How to Change Your Life to Where You Love It and change your life and your world. And I love to be able to share those things with you. One of the traits of those 7 traits that I teach all the time is lasting love. And I have an acronym, LIVE, and I've done a video on that. Go look up LIVE, Live in Lasting Love, if you want to see that. But today I want to talk to you just a little bit more in depth on that love without limits. Because if we're living in lasting love, we are living love without limits. So Dalai Lama had said, love is the absence of judgment. How many of us realize that when we start getting into judgment, we have gone completely away from love? We are completely in either limited love or we are completely away from love altogether. I want to tell you a story, and I'm going to wrap myself out here. I tell stories on myself all the time of things that happen, and this is no different. If you're with us very much, if you're in this community, you know we tell stories on ourselves because I feel like if I'm not vulnerable and honest and true with you, how could I expect you to be that back? And how would you learn if it's not something that I've actually had like right in my face, right? That I haven't learned from. So just this past week, I had someone over visiting at my house, and we were talking and we were getting into some conversation and having quite a discussion. And a while into this, my husband, most of you know, Bill Barney, he said, I think you've gone beyond discussing it and you are in either gossip or judgment. Like you've crossed that line. And when he said that, I was like, oh, whatever, you're not even listening to the whole conversation. But I didn't say anything to him. I just took it in. And the more I let it sink in to what I was doing and what was happening, he was absolutely right. I had completely stepped out of lasting love and had stepped back into limiting love. And I was having judgment and ideas and my own personal opinions around what was happening, right? And when we do that, we give up some of our power, but not only that, all that judgment comes in and all those things happen to us and they slow us down and they create for us to not be as powerful or as I think, be able to achieve what you want. You've got to be empowered with good principles and good things. Now, what I'm talking about in limiting love is a lot of different things. We think we can just, brush over and be like, oh, well, I don't gossip, so that's not me. Well, are you jealous? Do you get into jealousy, comparison, and like, oh man, they have it so much better than I do, or I should have gotten that award, or why did they get bumped up the ladder and I got missed? How much time do we spend in that? In jealousy and comparison? Because comparison will rob you of joy immediately. Like, it will take it from you every time. Every time you are in comparison, it's because you're feeling less than. If you start comparing, it's less than. And it's always going to affect you in a negative way. Anytime we get into abuse, divorce, because divorce is limited love. We loved you once, now we don't. And I know that there are 100 reasons why divorce is a good thing. And there are a lot of situations where a relationship needs to end. I'm the first person to say, if it is not a good relationship and there is abuse or there is anything like that, there is no reason that you need to be in that relationship. I'm always about keep your relationship safe, make sure that you are in a good relationship. But I'm the first one to also say that there is so much divorce in our world because of selfishness and because of having expectations and comparison, found a better, younger, sleeker model, right? And so I want you to really look at it, because it's not just that we've stopped loving someone, but it's why. What happened to get you there? And that's what I want you to look at, because usually what happens before that kind of a situation, a breakup or a relationship ending, it can be, mother and child relationship that there's no communication. What has gotten you to that point? Because there's usually a breakdown in communication, or there's judgment, or there's discrimination, right? And that's what happens to break up those relationships. Think about unrealistic expectations. When we have unrealistic expectations of like a spouse, and that doesn't happen, what then? Like, what at that point? Do we start having issues because of unrealistic expectations? We have Valentine's Day right about now, but one of the things that my husband and I do all the time is date night. We always date, we always build on that relationship. I feel like that helps us have lasting love, is because we spend time together and do things. On this particular date, we were going to a play, and the play was, they had a costume contest at this play. And we were going to see the Pirates of the Caribbean, and they were like, oh, come dress as pirates. Well, we had pirate costumes from Halloween last year, and my husband was like, oh, we're going to do this. We're going to go, we're going to wear our costumes, we might as well. And I was like, I don't really want to, right? I had unrealistic expectations of like, I don't want to do this. And Valentine's Day should be this great, romantic date. Now, keep in mind, I still have a date on Valentine's night. This was not Valentine's night. It was the weekend before. But I want you to think about this. He had this great idea, like, it would be something different. Like, we haven't done anything like this. I'm going, I don't want to be dressed up. I don't want to be in a costume at this play. Well, we go, and the people on the phone were like, oh, we'll have tons of costumes. Lots of people will dress up. Not the case. There was 2 different tables of people that dressed up. That was it. and their staff. So the unrealistic expectation there was, he was like, oh, it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be so exciting, right? So he had this idea of this date, and I was appreciative for him to have a great idea, something new, something different we hadn't done, and we went. When we got there and no one else was dressed up, yeah, I was really happy that I wore my mask and not just my hat. Because I was like, they don't know who I am. It's okay. When we have unrealistic expectations of how things are going to be, we can get our feelings hurt, we can get upset, we can have all these other emotions that show up. Now, I knew it would be this funny play, and they obviously make fun of Pirates of the Caribbean, and they do different things, and it's made to be fun. And dressing up was fun. We had a great date. But for me, if you were to say, what's your expectations of, Valentine's Day? I would say it's romantic, it's this nice dinner, right? And several of you would be like, oh, flowers or chocolates. What is that for you? Do you have expectations towards certain things? And if you do and you have good communication so that that significant person in your life knows those things, then great. But if you don't, and they don't know what they're supposed to be doing, if they're supposed to be doing what your dad did or supposed to be doing the relationship that your mom and dad had, and they don't know it, that's unrealistic expectation. That takes better communication, better skills put in place so that both of you can be happy. Both of you can live in lasting love and not have limited love, not feel like there's an end. The other thing that's huge, just like my story, was judgment. Whenever we get into judgment, we limit how much love we have. So I want to think about this because it's a lot easier to get in judgment than you think. I was recently at a meeting and I saw two different people that I've known for over 20 years, and I said, wow, both of them had glasses on. And I'm like, they are starting to look older, like they have aged. And my husband again says, oh my, judgment. And I said, I didn't really think I was judging, but I was, right? And I had just noticed that you don't think about, okay, so I'm getting older and I'm looking like I'm older. But this particular moment, it was like two people that were around our age had glasses on to read, and it just looked to me like older people, right? So be careful of our judgment. When we can be really careful and keep the parameters to where we're not judgmental, we will have so much, we will feel better about ourselves. Our energy about us, everything is better when we are positive and we're moving forward. We need to be careful of belittling. When we belittle others, it's limited love. Whenever you're putting someone else down, even if you're not meaning to, when you put someone else down, especially for you to be better, normally when we hear someone belittling someone else, it's so that they look better, so that their situation looks better. We need to be very careful of that because it is very damaging and it is not going to make you positive. It is not going to help you move forward. So let's talk about lasting love. What are the good parts? What are the good things that we really need to really embrace and build upon? Obviously, unconditional love. It means that no matter what, we are constantly going to be loving and kind and caring. I have had a lot of things happen in our life, and I've had to go back to unconditional love. Go back to lasting love where even if we didn't agree on things or if we didn't have the same opinions or the same ideas, that we still had love. And that we do in our family on a daily basis. We have lasting love, and it's something that we build, and we show respect for everyone. Everyone is allowed to have their opinions. Everyone's allowed to have their own lifestyle. That's up to them. And we get to be unconditionally loving about that. We need to show our love through our actions. You know, we can say words all day long, and the second that we do actions that are contrary to that, nobody will believe it. And I don't care if you're with your spouse. If I'm up speaking in front of a group of people and I am not living what I teach, absolutely they're not going to listen. They're not going to trust you. So you've got to show it through actions, and it's got to be you being real and authentic and being you. It's okay to say, you know what, I totally messed up. I got called on it, and it was like, oh my gosh, I hadn't even really realized that I'd stepped out that far, or that was something that was happening, right? People feel it from you. When you are being authentic and real and you are unconditionally loving and kind, they feel it from you. Think about it. Think about your biggest heroes, your biggest mentors, the people that you want to be like. They are real, they're authentic, and they are showing love all the time. I just want to mention a couple more before we wrap this up today. I want you to think about, do other people want to be like you? Are you the leader that you would want to follow? I love to ask that question because so many of the times when I do, I'm asking a real leader and in a position to be leading a lot of people. And are you being the leader that you would follow? Because that is what lasting love is all about, is being the leader that you would want to follow and being all of the things that you really want in that person. Having empathy and humility, being honorable, patient, forgiving, and of course, grateful. Grateful is a whole other thing that I talk about. I talk about all the time about being grateful and having gratitude. Those are so big. And when we have gratitude and we have that gratitude for those people we are around, we are showing lasting love. It becomes a big issue of love when we can be grateful for it. And the more grateful we are, the more love we can show. It's about being in service, serving those that we love, and that we love without limits. If you want to really love without limits, go to service, go to gratitude, and be authentically you and love deep within your heart and spread that love around. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode with me today and the quick little tips we've talked about on the difference between limited love and lasting love. And I hope that this makes a difference for you in your life. Continue to join us here on All Things Possible. If you haven't joined the community, join us now at allthingspossible.biz and become part of our world. We love having you here, and we love being able to give out content and information and ways for you to improve your life. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time on All Things Possible. Bye-bye.